Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com. This video is about email marketing like a pro, how to write broadcast emails that get clicks, get open, get engagement, and ultimately drive sales for your business. You definitely know that I love email marketing. I think it's still the engine in every digital business. My wife and I have hundreds of thousands of subscribers on our lists currently, and that really is the asset that drives our business and drives our revenue. So I've taught a lot about how to grow your list up to this point. Now we're going to talk about how to email your list. You probably know I've been doing an email marketing challenge where I've done a single broadcast email a day, every day for 90 days straight. So I've learned a lot, and I've been email marketing for 5 or 6 years, but this is the most kind of intense, condensed time I've done that. So I'm going to teach you what I've learned. I've learned a framework that I'm using over and over. My open rates are up. My click-through rates are up. My replies and engagement are up. My revenue is up from all of this activity in the world of email, and you're going to learn how to apply this as well. Now we're doing a theory, right? I'm going to talk about the 6 components you need to keep in mind. This is the theory. If you'd like me to do a tactical hands-on where you watch over my shoulder on the computer screen, like click here, go here, and actually set up an email that follows this template that you're going to learn, give me a thumbs up on the video and comment below. If I get enough thumbs up and enough comments saying, yes, put that video out, I'll definitely make that video for you, but I don't want to go build it if you're not interested. So let me know you're interested if you are. Okay, let's jump into the 6 factors that you need to keep in mind when sending your broadcast emails. These will become second nature, but you'll enjoy taking notes to have this kind of as a checklist to get going. Number 1 is something you're probably not thinking of very much. That is your sender information, the name and email address that your emails are coming from. You set this up in your autoresponder, and for me, my email address is myname@mydomain.com. The sender information is my full name. My goal here is to make this look like I'm a friend emailing another friend. I want it to look exactly like a friend would receive my email when they do. Same name, same email address, exactly the same. If you're running an e-commerce or a brand that's maybe bigger than one person, right? I've got a personal brand. If you're trying to run a brand, know that you can have a brand character. Look at the Progressive, right? There's Flo, the character of Progressive. There's even the Geico Gecko, right? There's a lot of ways for you to personify a brand, but also think about just being the CEO of said brand and letting you as the CEO be that voice of the brand and mail as yourself. Because ultimately, people like forming relationships. We like buying from people we like, and we like buying from people we trust. So you're going to be able to build trust as an individual more easily. So your sender name and your sender email address, make sure it's coming from an email address you own. No Gmail accounts, no Yahoo accounts from this. It's got to be an email address you own. So that's the first part. Number 2 is your subject line, which is ultimately your headline. And if you've seen my videos before, you know that I'm a huge fan of the book, How to Write a Good Advertisement by Victor Schwab. It was written in the 1940s, and he covers 100 of the most successful headlines ever up to that point in the 1940s, and then the psychology of why those headlines worked. And a lot of them are perfect templates for email subject lines. So your subject line is ultimately your headline. And that's one of the most important parts of your email, because if they look at that subject line, they're either going to click or they're not going to click, right? It either goes into the garbage or it gets opened and they'll consume what's in there. So this is a pivotal piece of content. When I'm writing out my emails every day, I put kind of my working headline in first, then I write out my entire email, then I double back to the headline and I think, can I make this more creative? Am I actually delivering on what I'm promising in this headline? Can I make this more curiosity inducing to get the hook? So I kind of start with my idea in a headline. I give it my best shot when I'm starting, but I always circle back and I always give it another couple of minutes like, can I make this better? Because I always want to increase the click-through rate on my subject, because that's how my content gets read. And if your content's not getting read in the body of your email, your links aren't getting clicked on. And if your links aren't getting clicked on, you're not actually making any money. So that's the way I think about it. There's a few kind of basic templates I've got. A key thing to remember is you want one main idea, and that main idea should be teased or mentioned in the subject itself. So another key idea is that curiosity gets clicks. So email subject lines like, did you see this? So when I email past videos or past blog posts that have been published on my blog, I'll use email subject lines like, did you see this? Or have you seen this yet? Or did you check this one out? These little questions. So a question is a great way to run a subject line, but also something that's just that curiosity. Like, did you see it? See what? I have to know what's in there, and people will click and people will go consume the content because you've just planted that open loop, that little bit of curiosity. Number two is how-to headlines, right? If you've got a how-to video or a how-to blog post that helps someone solve a very specific problem, like the email I will send for this video, for example, I'm probably going to use a how-to subject line because a lot of my audience wants to know how to write great emails that get clicks and generate revenue. That right there can be the headline because there's enough people in my audience who that actually is a solution they're currently looking for. So when it's very clearly stated how to boom, that thing that they want, that's often going to get a really good click-through rate. Asking a question is big because the way the human brain works, our thought patterns actually work in a questioning format. And when you pose a question to me, my brain can't help but answer that question. So especially when that question brings a little curiosity up, that can be a really powerful way. Last chance emails. If you're running launches, if you've got a deadline funnel, if you've got automations to where they can get a special deal up to a specific point, or if you're just closing the doors on a product or increasing the price, emails that say last chance, they just get such good click-through rates. It's pretty impressive. You can't abuse any one type of subject line too much. You got to use a wide variety because if you're always doing last chance, last chance, last chance, it's probably one of those is going to be the last chance for you ever to communicate with them, and they're going to click unsubscribe because you will begin to annoy them eventually. So one of the tricks that my team is doing is I have my virtual assistant go through and audit all of my past emails and all of my wife's past emails. She goes and pulls the subject line, the date, the open rate, and the click-through rate for every email, and she keeps that in a spreadsheet for us. And once a month, she goes, pulls all of our past emails for that month, and then we can go back and look at past emails that got great open rates, that got great click-through rates, and we can ask ourselves the best question to ever ask yourself: why? Why did that one work? And we've learned a lot about what works and what kind of messaging patterns and what ideas really trigger our audience by looking back at the data from our open rates on our past broadcast emails. So if you've got a VA, it's really easy to get them to go pull that information. If you don't have a VA and you're doing this stuff yourself, I do believe within an hour to 2 hours per month, you can go pull all of that information. And honestly, doing it yourself, being hands-on, you're going to be able to ask those questions for yourself in the midst of the timing of like, ooh, that one got a 38% open rate when all my other ones got a 26% open rate. Why? What was it about that headline that got so many opens? Because your open rate is directly tied to your headline. So I believe I've stressed the headline enough at this point. It is probably the most important part of your email because, again, if they're not clicking, they're not opening, they're not reading, they're not seeing your links, they're not seeing the opportunities to purchase from you, you're not making any money. So really get good at that and know that your first headlines aren't going to be great. Your second one might be a little bit better. Your third one's going to be a little bit better. That's why I do 90-day challenges. I've written 90 headlines and subject lines in the last 90 days. So it's really helped me flex that muscle enough to kind of build that skill. So number two, actually this is number three. The third piece is what I call the hook and the payoff. So when they click on the subject line, that email opens inside of their app or their browser or whatever they're using, right? So this point, you have the first few paragraphs is your next opportunity to grab their attention and get them to read the rest of the email. This is the hook. You're trying to hook them into reading the rest. And if you're using a curiosity-inducing headline, you need to make sure you pay off that headline, right? So if you say something outlandish, outrageous, or really odd and off the wall that's like, what? I don't get that. Like, did you see this? So my first few sentences need to address the fact that I just asked them an open-ended question and I need to answer that question. Because if I don't, they're going to feel disconnect. If they open because they think they're going to get this kind of curiosity solved, they've got an itch now that they want scratched, and you don't scratch that proverbial itch right away, they're going to leave and they're going to be done and they're not going to enjoy your emails. So if I do send an email that says, did you see this? I'm going to let them know what I'm talking about very, very quickly. I want to pay off that question as quick as I can. And then I want to hook them into the idea of reading more. Generally, this is by giving them a benefit of not only what that thing is that I was teasing through the subject line, but why it's important that they master that, why it's important that they learn that, why it's important that they consume the rest of the email. This brings us to number 4, which is really ultimately kind of transitioning into a story, if at all possible. You probably know that I am huge on story-powered marketing. There's a course, if you haven't gone through it, I highly recommend it. They teach the ultimate framework for telling stories for marketers, for digital marketers. It's at milesbeckler.com/story. Again, I've watched and rewatched this one more than just about any training I've ever been through. I've turned hundreds of people onto it. The feedback I get from other people who go through this is astounding, because when you learn the framework to writing a story, you have the power to really play into that mental patterning that we all live with, because every Hollywood movie we watch, every TV show that does a great job of hooking people in, even if you go back to past cultures of ancient times, storytelling is how history was handed down from generation to generation. So our brains are actually wired to receive stories. And when you learn how to write stories and create stories that mimic the patterns that Hollywood uses, that TV uses, that great books use, that all these stories and myths that have stuck for generations and generations use, and you start to use that in your email marketing, you're going to be amazed at the results that you create. So again, that's at milesbeckler.com/stories. Now, stories don't always make sense. Sometimes you don't have a story to fill. That's when you go into benefits, right? So if you're teaching them how to do something or how to get a goal that they want, then you would talk about the benefits of them achieving the goal. You would talk about what's in it for them. Zig Ziglar has a quote saying, everyone is tuned into WIIFM. What's in it for me? So you, as the author of the email, need to write in the second person, which means you use the word you. You're speaking directly to that individual in the email, and you are telling them the benefits that they're going to experience, because they're thinking what's in it for me, and your language pattern is here's what's in it for you. It connects, and your language pattern matches their thinking pattern. They're going to keep consuming that email. Oh, I get this benefit, and then I get that benefit, and I get this benefit. Okay, I'm really, really interested. And at this point, we transition to the call to action. Now, every single email you write, you want to have a call to action. In my 90-day challenge, I assume at least 80 of my emails had some sort of a call to action. And I want to be really clear here for a moment. That doesn't mean you sell something in every single email. Most of my emails linked people to a video or a blog post, something that is helpful, right? So even linking someone and getting someone to click on a link in an email that takes them to one of my free videos is a win. That's me getting an engagement. That's me getting a conversion, even though it's not the exact kind of conversion that turns into dollars in my personal bank account. And here's why. You ultimately want to train your readers to click on your links. So when you do promote a product, whether it's your product, an affiliate product, and you have a link in there that kind of links them to a sales page, and that's the make money moment, you want to make sure that they've already been pre-programmed to click on your URLs in your emails. If you never send an email that has a URL, and then on day 14 you send a URL, they're going to be like, wait a minute, I don't click URLs. I don't click links in this guy's emails or gal's emails because I've never seen one before, and it doesn't compute. Whereas if every email that you send has a link to a blog post, a link to something helpful, a link to a video, this doesn't have to be your content. This can be other people's content that's really actually valuable and helps them solve their problems, but you're training them to click on the links. So when you do deliver that hook, per se, that offer in the email, they're already predisposed to click. They've clicked on links in your emails before. They've had good experiences with what they got after the click before. So they're happy and willing and more ready to click in that situation than if you've never sent them a link before. So remember, even getting the click to a YouTube video, to a blog post, to a Medium article, to some third-party article, third-party video that you didn't even create, that is a positive conversion, that's a positive engagement, and that's going to get you closer to making a sale. I generally recommend 3 or 4 value emails in between every offer. That's really playing on Gary Vaynerchuk's jab, 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 right hook concept, but it's just give more value than you ask for. Think of it as a virtual or a kind of theoretical bank account, right? You want to make sure you're depositing more money into your bank account than you're withdrawing, right? And every value email is a deposit, every offer is a withdrawal, and you want that bank account to grow. And so you got to put more in than you take out. So more value than you get out in the end. In the call to action, tell them what to do. I literally say, click the link below, right? Literally give them the words that say the action you want them to do. Don't assume that they're going to know that because you hyperlinked this word that that's what they're supposed to do to click on it, right? Make sure you actually say, click the link below. I also always go in and make sure, even when I paste a link, so I'll take my YouTube link, for example, and it's some weird HTTPS youtube.com/squiggly SB59. I always paste the link so they could copy it, but then I highlight it and make it a clickable link also, because some Gmail is really good at taking any URL and making it clickable, but Yahoo is terrible, and Yahoo does not make pasted URLs clickable. So when you hyperlink it and make it clickable from within the editor window, it's also going to track the data more effectively than expecting the browser on the other end to do that for you, or the email client on the other end to do that for you. So tell them what to do. Click the link below, click the link above, and get the blank now, right? Say the actual words of the action. So my emails pretty much always have a click the link or click below or click this, because we don't want anyone to miss the, we don't want anything to get lost in subtleties. You want to be very, very clear about what actions you expect them to take. And then last is your PS, which is your postscript. This would come below your signature. Some say that this is the most read part of an email. Obviously, I think your name actually in the sender and the subject line is the most read part of your email. But ultimately, when they're in the body, many people do get all the way down to that postscript, and then they're going to read the postscript to see what's going on in the PS. You can use your PS as a call to action. You can use your PS as a way to tease what you're going to email about tomorrow. Kind of how in the beginning of this video I said, hey, if you want me to do a video where I show you step by step how to actually implement this, click the thumbs up and leave me a comment saying, yes, I want that in the comments below, right? That's almost teasing that next video that might come out to get your brain working on it. So as you're looking at my channel in the next couple of days, you're kind of looking for that next thing because I planted a seed of thought in your brain. You can do the same thing in the PSs. Andre Chaperone is pretty awesome at this with his autoresponder madness course. That's what he teaches, is how to open and close loops. That's what a lot of the TV shows that people binge watch, like the Game of Thrones, the Breaking Bad, the 24s, the Lost, they're really good at opening a loop at the end of the episode to where you really can't stop thinking about what's going to happen next until that next episode plays. And you can do this with your emails. You open a little bit of loop in the PS, and then so you can, in an email that's talking about this exact idea, PS, in tomorrow's email, I'll show you exactly how to set this up. But for today, be sure you click the link above and watch the video so you can get the theory that we'll put into practice tomorrow. Got it? See how I did that right there? I kind of took what I'm talking about here. I reinforced clicking today to learn what you're going to learn today, because that builds on what you're going to learn tomorrow. And that kind of subconsciously gets the reader pre-programmed to want to open my email tomorrow and to expect another email tomorrow. You can also use the PS as your call to action. So you could tell a story in the actual body of the email, then you close, and at the bottom, PS, if you want help getting the same result that our hero in the story above got, click this link and you can learn about the membership program, the coaching, the this, the that will get you the solution that you desire. The third way to use the PS, it's a second way to do it as a call to action, is if your body copy of your email links someone to a video, a free video or a free blog post, then you close, and in the PS, you can do a second call to action that offers them your membership, your personal coaching, or your paid product that takes them farther. PS, if you really like that above, then when you're done, be sure to check out the membership where I work with people one-on-one to get that result, and I'll actually work on your content for you type situation. My wife uses this a lot with her membership program because we do plug our membership program quite a bit, and the body of the email might talk about a free thing that she created. Here's a free thing. PS, if you want these kinds of messages in your inbox every day, go ahead and check out our membership here, and there's a link to the membership. It's a very soft call to action. Generally speaking, you want one action for someone to take in the email. Usually I know what that action that I desire the user to take before I start writing my email, and I paint the story, I paint the hook, I paint the kind of opening and the headline to ultimately pre-frame them to want to click on that thing. So I've got an idea of the action I want them to take before I start, and then I back everything up from there to what's the subject line that's going to get them to open, what's the hook that's going to get them interested, what's the story that's going to get them to the point where they're ready to click, what's the call to action to get them to go, do I have a PS or not, I'm in, I'm out. When I first started writing my emails, it took maybe 35 to 45 minutes to actually write and edit and test the email myself. Now I've got it down to about 15 minutes, but really in the early days, it sometimes took me an hour or two to think of the idea of the email. Now I often spend my evenings after I emailed, right? So I'll email for the day today in the morning, and I spend my afternoon and my evenings thinking about what I can email the next day, and I take notes in my phone, and that's how I kind of keep it really, really quick. But I've got this whole process down some days, 10, 15 minutes, I'm in, I'm out. I've emailed my whole list, and that is ultimately probably one of the biggest business activities for me in my business. Same with my wife, for her in her business. It's pretty magical when you can send out an email or two, you make $4, $8, $10, $20,000 from a few emails. It's happened time and time again from us, but ultimately it's not those emails we send to create those kinds of results. It's all of the dozens and hundreds of emails and all of the free videos and blog posts. It's all that work we did before to build trust. That's the key to email marketing. So it's a process. It's something you want to get going, you want to stick with for long periods of time. And that's it. That's really the whole idea. I'm going to run through just the main points again. So it's your sender information is first, then it's your subject and your headline. This is such a key. Read Victor Schwab's book, How to Write a Good Advertisement. You're going to love it. Part 3 is the hook or the payoff. This is the first part of the email. You want to answer the question from the subject line itself, and then you really want to hook them in and get them excited to read the story or the benefits. That's the fourth part. And then you go into the story, you tell them a quick story, then you have your call to action. You always want them to take some sort of action. You close with your name, and then you can have a PS if you want. That's obviously optional. That is ultimately the framework, the theory behind writing emails. They get engagement, they get clicks, they get opens, they will make you revenue over time. It is a skill that you'll need to build. I highly recommend you start emailing more. If you're emailing once a week, try emailing 5 times a week. Really learn how to be a storyteller. milesbeckler.com/story. That course helped me out so much in becoming a better storyteller, and I use that in every aspect of my business at this point. The number of ways that course is valuable is pretty crazy. There'll be a link to that in the description. If you have any questions for me, definitely hit me in the comments. If you want me to do a hands-on, over-the-shoulder, click here, click there to show you physically how to implement something like this with a real-world email that we'll even send and test in real time, go ahead and leave me a comment that you want to see that. Give me a thumbs up if you want to see that. If I get enough thumbs up and comments, I'll definitely do that. And that's it for this video. So thank you very much for your time. Again, comments or questions, if you want to share this, feel free to share this. And I do appreciate you, and I really just want to encourage you to break through that barrier, email more. Your audience is bored. They're probably living commuter lifestyles. They want to live vicariously. They want to improve their lives. And if you can help them do that, do it. It is your duty to get that kind of content out and become a better writer. They'll actually enjoy your emails. It's amazing when it works, and I can't encourage you enough to go forth and really step into yourself as an email marketer. And on that note, I'm going to call it for this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Till then, be well.